Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I'm excited. I have on someone who, okay, I'm not going to talk about her insides first. I'm going to talk about her outside. I knew her before she knew me. I was a fan, a listener. I came across her podcast. You know how you listen to a podcast and it'll recommend one? And I came across her and I was like the aesthetic. I'm a sucker. I will admit it. People call me, you can call me shallow. I'm a sucker for a pretty face. I am. So I was like, Then started listening to her. She's funny. She's brilliant. She could be on SNL if she wanted to. She's an amazing actress. And I was like, I like her. Then I put my other podcast on hiatus, started this podcast and reached out to a person, the very first person that I wanted to have on here and reached out to. And when she answered back, I was sitting by my CVS and I screenshot it, sent it to C Breezy, told him how excited I was. She took time out of her day, came on, recorded for over an hour, only for me to not have really known how to use Zoom because I used to do audio only for my other podcast. Couldn't find it. I was panicking. I almost started crying. See, Breezy came home. He couldn't find it. He was like, yeah, so you didn't record it. I reached out to her and she was like, no problem. When you want me to come back on? Y'all, I'm talking about the gorgeous, amazing. She has rhythm because we have actually spent time together in New Orleans for our girl Raven's bachelorette party. I want to shout out my girl, Hannah Brown.
Oh my gosh, Taria, you're going to make me cry. That was so nice. Thank you so much. Really, I feel like true podcasting friendships are made, when we record. I feel like podcast friends catch up behind the mic. I feel like that's just how it's done. It's like, hey, we have to catch up, but also I have to get an episode out. So let's just get behind the mic and record. And then also, I also feel like true podcast friendships are made when it's like, hey, the recording got corrupted somehow. It's not going to work. Literally, we've all been there. And I was like, great. You mean I get to hang out with you more and chat again? Sure, let's do it. And all these years later, we're still friends. I'm so honored to be back. And this show, the way your show has blown up and the way you've stuck with it and you've followed your creative impulses on where you want to take it, as it's grown, it's just been so amazing to see.
Hannah has been, I hear these people when they talk about growing your business or a business owner, whether it's media, podcasting, whether it's stores or whatever it is you want to do, they talk about having a board and you need to have your board and run things by your board, basically friends, whatever. Hannah, knowingly or unknowingly, is a part of my board because there will be times when I'll send her a long text I don't know what to do. This is what I'm thinking, but this is and she's been very encouraging, always encouraging me throughout. One thing has been consistent about the people that I talk to in this space and is y'all all say, stay true to yourself. And that has really rung true to me. And I know that, in this business and especially what you do, you're in entertainment, you have a creative vision and there's a difference between tweaking or taking instruction okay, I want you to come and do this for me, but we have to stay in these guidelines versus taking your entire voice. So yeah. I'm learning no opportunity is worth my entire voice being given up. So I appreciate you being part of my board.
Oh my gosh, I'm literally so honored to be part of your board. Did you see that clip of Hannah Berner on Ellen? Why did I say Ellen? She was on Drew. Ellen's not even on anymore. Am I okay? Hannah Berner was on Drew recently. Very different people. Very different people. Love Drew, not the biggest fan of Ellen. But Hannah Berner was on it and Drew was like, can you tell me the secret to your success? And Hannah was basically, she's like, I've lost myself before. And I got to a point where I just had to fully be myself because I honestly have nothing else to give. And I know Hannah Berner can be irritating at times. She's a little bit polarizing. Mm-hmm. But I will say, as someone who sees her content on TikTok and has seen her success, I find her to be inspiring because you could see in that one season of Summer House where she was getting on everyone's nerves. I think she got a little bit of a big head from the show. I think she would say that too, because her and Paige were so well received. Yeah. And now that she was humbled and I felt grounded herself again, that's when everything happened for her. And I truly believe that. I think you have to stay true to yourself.
I agree too. And I'm glad, in spite, like you said, I know that season, it was just like,
Yeah.
but she is a real human. And
Mhm.
just like we do within the jobs that we do, sometimes you think I've got to save my job. Like, so I've
Yeah.
got to do so. Who knows if that was on the back of her mind, especially if you have people saying people telling you, you guys made the season before. Now that's pressure on you
Yeah.
to keep it going. Everyone was talking about, oh, they were a fresh wind and it was a new,
Yeah.
welcoming. So I get that. And I respect her. Well, let me go back. In spite of how I may have felt about her that season, that is a good point you brought up about her being able to recognize it. And I'm glad that she didn't have to lose it all, because sometimes your humbling is you lose everything, and
Yeah.
sometimes you may not get it back. So I'm glad that she was able to kind of self-check and be like, okay, this isn't working. And this is not
Mhm.
even just this isn't working. This isn't who I am.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Taria, we talk about this. Like I have a temper that does not always come out, but when it does, sometimes I can't get my arms around it as quickly as I would like to. Okay. And if I were on a reality show, like I've had people be like, "Oh my God, like you should audition for a reality show." And I'm like, A, like Bravo is not like knocking on my door. B,
Oh,
I
they're
would
crazy.
never,
Go ahead.
I would never be able to do it because I know that like when I'm emotional, like Hannah was having a really rough season. Like I think the stuff with Luke like really fucked her up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
who among us hasn't been like fucked up by a guy that we liked who led us on? And like I can think about guys like that in my own life where like I'm like, had there been a camera there, I would have had Hannah's season times 10. Like I would have had a really bad time. And viewers would have been like, this girl is terrible. She's crazy.
Yeah.
She's mean. I don't like her. And I would have gotten fired.
Right. And then you would have had this whiff would have followed you like wherever
Mm-hmm.
you went. And depending on where you are in your career, who knows who will take the time to see beyond that and work with you. It could very well stop your career, because
Yeah.
reality TV Hollywood is not as big as people think that it is.
No. No. That when you said a whiff will follow you, it reminded me of this time in college when like my aunt had given me a pair of Tory Burch flats that she didn't want anymore. And they were like my nicest pair of shoes I had ever had. And I wore them to a party and my outfit was like, I was wearing this like little like mini dress that I liked like over a pair of skinny jeans. I like thought that was a
Yes.
vibe with my Tory Burch flats. And I was like going to this party where I knew that this guy I liked was going to be there. And I was like walking and I get there and everyone's like, what smells like shit? And I had stepped in dog shit on the way to the party. And so when you say a whiff follows you around, I was like, that night, I remember being in the bathroom, like crying, like trying to get my shoes clean. And
Oh
even when I
no.
cleaned it, they were like, you still smell like shit. Like you just smell like shit. Like there's nothing you can do. And I like had to like leave because I was like, I felt so cute that night. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to like spit game with my crush when I smell like dog shit. And you know what? Let me
Metaphor.
just, let me, yeah, let me just go on a quick tangent here. I love cats and dogs and all of the Lord's creatures. Okay.
Yes.
I love animals and I think we should love and respect them. What I don't appreciate is how there are these dog owners out there that are like violently hateful towards cats, where they're like, fuck cats. And I'm like, A, what did a cat ever do to you? B, I'm not stepping in cat shit on my way to a party. I'm stepping in your dog's shit because you didn't clean it up. And that is a problem. I
You know
take
what?
umbrage.
You're right. I never thought about it like that. It's like dog owners maybe put themselves above cat
Yeah.
owners when cats really are like self-sufficient. You can kind of leave them. Like
Yeah.
a cat will be like, I heard a podcaster say he loves the attitude of a cat, but he's also scared of it. That's why he could never own one, because the cat will be like, I'm in heat. I'm about to go hoe around and get mine. Be back in 3 days. Don't
Yes.
come find me. Don't look for me. I'm good.
And that's literally me when I'm on my period. I'm like, Jake, leave me alone. I have to descend into my bed lay on my heating pad, turn off the lights. Don't come looking for me.
I'll be back in 2 to 3 business days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Literally.
Eating what
Ugh,
equates to jumping into a garbage dump.
it's true. Anything salty. Oh my God, Taria, I'm like amidst wedding planning right now. And I like was like, Jake, we like maybe like, I don't know, I kind of want to step up my nutrition the closer we get to the wedding, like nothing extreme or crazy, but I just want to feel really great. We
Right.
had like 1 week of eating like really clean. And now I'm like, you know how people are like, you should be healthy 80% of the time, unhealthy 20% of the time. I think I'm rocking like a 60-40 right now. Like where I'm like, when I'm unhealthy, I do it for like days at a time. And I'm like, oh shit, I have to stop this the closer I get to my wedding.
But I think it's working for you. Your skin is glowing. I've
Thank you.
seen the
It's the
videos, body
McDonald's.
with the exposed nugget
The nugget exposed in the sauce.
in the sauce. I think it's working for you. Oh, I just saw
Thank you.
my fellow Aries king. Hi,
Yes.
Jake.
Jake is this is gonna be on YouTube. You're gonna be famous. You're in and out of the frame. He's like, he's in, he's out. He's
No, no,
he's
that's
fine.
fine. He is no, you know how I feel about Jake. He's my Aries king. So there we go.
Taria says hi and that you're her Aries king. Oh my
Oh, I
gosh.
think it's working for you. I feel, you know what? I've come to this conclusion in this part of life. We all have different fingerprints. We all have different hair types. Some have allergies, some don't. Some can take a Benadryl, some can't, meaning we're all different. Meaning, yes, a trainer can tell me about X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Maybe 60-40 is what's going to work for me.
I love that. That is like really inspiring. Did I tell you about what happened to me on TikTok recently?
No.
Okay, so I made a video last week, like very flippantly off the cuff. I had just left Orange Theory and I was in this kind of like grubby gym outfit. And I just said, like, hot girls on TikTok, why do I look stupid at the gym? Like, don't worry about my feelings. Just tell me what's wrong with this outfit. I
No.
know there's something wrong with it, but I don't know what.
I'm
Babe, we're up
scared.
to like over 6 million views now.
Okay.
Okay.
Hannah. Okay.
It grew my whole account. And now and it's great. Like, it's great. But there were of course mean people in the comments being like,
Yes.
she has a fupa. We shouldn't lie to her. She said not to be like worried about hurting her
Are
feelings.
you kidding?
No, I was like body shamed for like days at a time. They were like, well, first of all, you have to be hot. So maybe you should get a new face. You're chunky. And they were like, no, she's chunky. Like they were talking about me like I wasn't there, like I wasn't gonna see it. They're like, no, you guys, like she asked not to lie to her. Like she is chunky. And I was like, as someone who like has body dysmorphia and someone who like had an eating disorder in my early 20s, I was like, whoo, and I had to like take a beat. And then I texted some of my friends and they had to be like, Hannah, the most beautiful women on the planet get body shamed. People are just fucked up. Like
Yeah.
it's not you, it's them. But I was like, wow, that's fucking brutal. And then I was like, oh my God. So, you know, I had to like fight going into a spiral. But then it was cool because there's always more nice people than mean people.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just
Yeah.
our brains just always isolate the negative and
The
then
negative
like discount the
comments.
positive. Yeah. And then the cool thing was I started having gym brands being like, oh my God, like let us send you clothes. So now I have all these nice brands sending me clothes to try and like help me become a hot girl at the gym.
So what you're telling me is I need to stitch that because I need some brands to
I literally stitch it
But wait a
immediately.
minute. But look at how that turned around for you. You're having people send you clothes.
It's so crazy. It
Hannah,
feels like manifestation.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know what's so weird though? I like worked at like a marketing agency for like a year within the last like a year and a half within the last couple of years. And I've been like sitting at like like in a conference room with people being like, okay, what's the strategy? What's the social strategy? Like, what are we trying to say as a brand? Da, da, da. And like, it is so, I've done the thing where I've come up with a strategy.
Okay.
And when this video did well, people were like, wow, this is a really smart strategy. Or like, wow, this was like such a smart series to start. And I have consciously tried to strategize on TikTok and Instagram so many fucking times. And of course, it's the one video that I put 2 seconds into fucking making.
Yes.
Didn't think about it because my views are always like 200 to 400. I didn't think anyone was going to see it. And it like opened all these floodgates. So it's a great thing. But all this to say, I also feel like us as creatives who are like making content, putting it out there, it's like, you just have to make shit that you like because you don't know. Like I feel like the more we overthink it, the less fun it becomes. And that's just not sustainable. Like if it's not fun, we're going to stop doing it or we're going to lose some of our like magic sauce that makes what we make our own, you know?
That's true. And even some of our authenticity then.
Yeah.
Because I feel in the same way, like, well, maybe I want to talk about everything on the
Mhm.
podcast, and how I don't know if you saw Potomac last night, but basically Dr. Wendy wants to do a talk show, and she said I could give you politics, I could give you ratchet. And with the show, I want to talk about real life pop culture. So
Mhm.
real life could be, is it the ex-mayor or the mayor of New York whose phones got seized by the FBI, even though he's not admitted to any wrongdoing. But I want to talk about that, and also talk about how Ashley Darby makes me want to turn my TV off and throw it in a river. So I feel like I should be able to talk about those things, and
Yes.
that's me being authentic. So you saying that, thank you for that reminder. And by the way,
Of
again,
course.
do people know what I feel like people don't truly know what a fupa is, because there's a difference.
I said to, like, I made a video clapping back, just being like, they were like, it's your fupa, like, thank me for it later. And I like responded being like, thank you for what? Like, you just body shamed me. And people in the comments were kind of arguing about like whether I had a fupa or not. And then
Are
some
you
of the girls, and then some of the girls were like, is the fupa in the room with us right now? And I thought it was funny. The girlies defended me, but there were some people that were like, no, she has one. And I was like, it's my organs. Like, it's my uterus. Like, I'm never gonna have like a super flat, like Gigi Hadid stomach. That's just not how I'm built. And, like even Lala Kent is like, oh, I bounced back after my baby, but that's literally just genetics. I didn't do anything super crazy.
That is insane to me, but also a reminder that you really have to put work into loving yourself, which you have done, because that could have said, and you recognized I can spiral. I need to text some friends, and I need to get myself on the right track. I think
Yeah.
that's good too, because sometimes we feel like we see something like that, then we beat ourselves up and say,
Mm-hmm.
why am I feeling like this? No, we're human. If you didn't feel any of those things, that would be the red flag. Like,
Yeah. Right.
wait a minute. And then, but you were able to pull yourself out of it. And sometimes you
Thanks.
still may be like, but then you're like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let it. So I think that's important. We need to recognize our wins too, because that's a win that you're not under the covers. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yes. Yes. I know. I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh, if I had gotten those comments like even a year ago, it could have sent me into like a multiple day like depression. And in the grand scheme of how I could have reacted, it was fine. And then also it was like, when I saw the video resonating with people and so many girls being like, oh, thank you for like kind of like putting
Wow.
yourself out there and like sacrificing yourself for all of us to learn like what we should be wearing at the gym. I was like, that to me like made it all worth it, because I was like, oh, I want to make content that like helps other people just feel less alone in whatever it is they're
Yeah.
experiencing, whether it's something serious like grief during the holidays, or like I don't know what to wear at the gym because I'm a millennial woman and I don't know what's cool anymore. Like you know what I mean? Have you ever
Right.
thought about like I don't remember where I heard this, but I heard that like when you're creating content, you should know like what your why is. Have you ever thought about that as a content creator?
Yes. Only because it's not at the forefront of my mind, which is, it should
Mm-hmm.
probably be a little further, but it comes to mind when I start thinking about, when you start seeing other accounts, right? And you're like, I know that I could be growing so much more. I know that I could be doing so much more. But like for me, for Instagram, I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for how long? I should be at way more followers. And then I think, but I don't put that much I don't put the effort into, because to me that's a how do I like that is a piece of what goes along with my content, but my heart and
Mm-hmm.
soul content is this. So then I go back
Mm-hmm.
to, why are you doing this? Is it because you want your Instagram to be the focus, or do you want your voice to be heard through this? So those
Right.
are the times when I do think of my why. And sometimes I have to be clear, and I'll do an elevator pitch in my head. I talked to a
Mm-hmm.
publicist years ago with my other podcast, and she was like, basically have your elevator pitch. And so my elevator pitch, includes my why. So I do think about it, but I think I should maybe have it at the forefront more, so I don't doubt as much.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think what's cool is like if you know what that why is, then it's going to, whether it's even conscious or not on your end, it's going to serve as like an umbrella for everything that you want to talk about, because it's organic to you. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that's true. Okay, that's
Which I
true.
think is interesting. But I was thinking about that too, because I was like, oh, like, what do I like talking about? And I was like, oh, it kind of all connects, even though I didn't consciously strategize like, oh, all these topics have to connect. It's just it's because it's my perspective of the world, the same way that your content is like
Right.
your perspective. You know what I mean? I just find that really interesting.
It is. And you saying I have to connect it, but subconsciously or unconsciously. Well, I guess if it was unconscious, we probably wouldn't be able to create, right? So we're all unconscious.
Whichever word is right. Yeah.
It really is all connecting. I feel like more creators need to have these real, raw, authentic conversations because you don't know what somebody is putting in or going through behind the scenes. And I feel like I wish, and there probably is that I don't know about, but like a creator network and not a competition network. So to speak,
Yeah.
more of a creative network. Like, girl, well, let's collab then and see what we can do to get you here. Or
Yeah.
see what we can do. Or if my content doesn't align with yours, I know somebody it aligns, not even in a negative way, but if somebody is talking about science, like if they're talking about the shape of the earth, that does not really,
Yeah.
maybe we may not, but they'll say, hey,
Yeah.
let me hook you up with someone, who does. So I think that's really, it's so funny too, because my cousin had a dinner Friday, and it was in Delaware. So my husband go, and we're talking to the waiter, and my husband's family sings, Corey sings, all of his cousins, first cousin, second cousin, like sings, like they could be like, so they sang happy birthday. So of course the restaurant is like, wow. So the waiter comes out. So I say, by the way, I'm their booking agent. So they're available for bookings if you need people to sing happy birthday here. So the waiter turns around and goes, wait, really? And I was like, I just went with it. And he goes, so I host a podcast about movies. I talk about movies. I do different breakdowns, blah, blah, blah. And I would like a choir to actually sing in the background, like sing something for Sister Act for what he's going to do. Well, my cousin, who was one of the singers, also has her own dessert and cake business. You order, she can deliver it to you. She can ship it to you. She can make anything you want. You could say, I want, I don't know, an exact replica of my house on a cake. And she could do it. And I know that's basic. That's basic.
That's incredible though. Like the show Nailed It.
Yes. She made the cake. They let her bring in the cake for my cousin. They were like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And he goes, and by the way, you made the cake, right? To my cousin. And she's like, yeah. He's like, so we can go ahead and do an advertisement for you on the podcast. And then it's like, and let me know what your rates are for like the singing. So I connected them to. So I was like, this is like,
that is so
for
cool.
me, what it's about. Yeah.
Yes.
I registered a business years ago, TM, called Connect the Dots. And I wanted to be the person that, Hannah, you could say, you know what, Taria, I really want someone to read a poem at my wedding. And I want it to be about this. I want it to be about that. And I want this kind of food, and say, because you didn't know. And I'm like, oh, let me connect y'all to and move on. Or anything like that, but so him being a content creator, me being we started talking, we exchanged numbers, we get it. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I just recorded a podcast, shout out to Shanika. I just recorded a podcast with a host who does horror films based on like a Black perspective. So we just did Get Out. And I was like to him, do you do horror? He was like, oh, most of the time. I was like, I need to connect you with someone that I know, so they can connect, because who knows what could come out.
That's so cool.
But I just feel like there's room. I know people say this is oversaturated, or that it's like, then we never have more actors. We never have more singers. I love Lupita Nyong'o, and I love other actors, Kerry Washington. I love, like we can love all of them. There's room for, I feel like there truly is room for everyone.
I think so too. I think and that's the other thing too, is like, I understand what people are saying when they're like, oh, like podcasting is oversaturated or whatever.
Yes.
But also on the other hand, I'm like, so are just all these like talented people with their own perspectives and things they bring to the table, are we all just supposed to fuck off because we didn't get in early enough? Like what's the alternative? Like,
Hannah, oh my god.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, sorry. Like I didn't start a podcast in 2011. I guess it's stupid that I started one now. Like that's just ridiculous to me.
You know what?
It's so gatekeepy. I don't like gatekeepy people. It really pisses me off.
That it is gatekeepy. You're exactly right.
It's like, oh, you missed it.
sorry. And it's so funny
Fuck
because
you.
I never say stuff like this because I'm like, you know what you're talented at and what you're capable of. But someone was like, oh, I just want to tell you, you're just good. The way they said it, they were like, you're good at interviewing. But the way they said it, it wasn't like it was very much like, oh my God, you just started. You're good at this. And mind you, they just started like 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, well, I've been podcasting since 2016, and I've interviewed vice presidents at media companies. I've done,
Yes.
and normally that wouldn't be something that I would have said, but I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, what we're not going to do is be like,
Yes. It's insulting.
just say I like it, or you know what, I really think you have a skill here, or something. But like,
Not this backhanded, like, yeah, and you're just starting out. You're like, I'm actually not.
yeah, this is just new to you.
You know what else I think is insulting? This is like me being petty for a second.
I love it. Please be.
I feel like it's a really interesting time to create content because I feel like on TikTok, I'll like see some random girl on my For You page. I'm like, oh, she's so cute. And I'll go to her page and I have no idea who this person is. And she has like 500,000 followers. I just feel like because everyone's famous, it's almost like no one's famous these days.
Yes.
But there are a lot of influencers turned podcasters. And like for us who have both been like grinding at this for so long and trying to build like a real community with our listeners and getting to know them and DMing them every day, it's kind of like a full-time job. And we're not making, I mean, I don't want to speak for you. I'm not making a ton of money podcasting.
Block that tea.
Yeah.
Block that tea.
Yeah. And then I see these influencers that are like, guess what, girlies? I have a podcast. And I check it out because I want to do my research. I want to see what's out there. It's a 20-minute episode, 15 minutes of which are paid ads, 5 minutes of which are actual talking. And it's the same phrases and topics that they've been regurgitating since they blew up in 2020. Now, do I have specific people on my mind? Yes. I'm not going to name them. Okay.
I have one.
Messy. But because a lot of people do it. And I'm like, this is frustrating because I'm like, you're doing the bare minimum. And I know that you're making so much fucking money off of this podcast. You can't bother to give us a little razzle dazzle. You can't come up with 30 actual minutes of talking without the ads. You talk for 15 minutes and you go, good enough. That's frustrating for us who have been grinding for a while. And I don't think that there's a solve to it. I have to accept it within myself. I understand that.
Yes.
But it's how I feel. And it does annoy me.
I get it. And then when you just hit press the button, that's good enough. They're not even pressing the button. Someone's there pressing buttons. Someone's there putting it all together.
They always have a producer. They're like, hey, Tom, can I curse on this? Okay, yes. And Tom, we will add a clip here for you guys of thank you, Tom. They're always talking to their producer, or their producer will be like giggling in the background. Like Tom thinks they're so hilarious. Wait. And I'm like, you're paying Tom to laugh at your jokes in the background to make yourself seem like legitimate.
Literally had one time a while ago told Corey, like, you're going to get on the hot pot and be like that producer that chimes.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Come on. I 100% agree. That's why sometimes I'm shocked when they're good. And people could say, who am I? Who are you to say what's good and what's not? But anyone with ears sometimes, again, if it's the same regurgitated, it's nothing new. It's nothing fresh. It's like, and I don't mean
the same shit.
Because there's no new way to create the wheel. We just have to put our own spin on it. But there's not even, it's just like, here's the wheel, guys. You guys have questions about the wheel?
Hey guys, swipe up to buy the wheel and use my code for the wheel.
15% off. 15% off. The code is Corinne.
Yeah. Corinne 15.
With 2 R's, guys, because you guys know you're always putting 1 R and 2 N's, and it's 2 R's and 1 N.
You guys, you need to do your research. One time I saw a video from an influencer where like she like scolded her audience because she was like a fashion girly and they were asking her like over and over in the comments, like, where are your pants from? Where are your pants from? Where are your pants from? Because they looked good on her. And she was like, you guys, I need you to do your research. I answered in the comments. I linked them in my bio. I'm not gatekeeping them, but you need to click the links and check it out yourself. I can't keep telling you. And I was like, I get that it can be irritating to answer the question 50 times. I do understand that. I'm like, we can't be, as an audience member myself, I like to be resourceful and be like, let me scroll through these comments and try and answer myself. I get it. But I was like, Girl, there was no version of that video that was not going to come off as incredibly condescending and annoying.
Right. Like,
Like,
guys.
it's like, yeah, it was like a teacher being like, quiet coyote, be quiet, you guys. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait. Remember, I used to always be so scared as a kid when a teacher would go, I'll wait.
Oh yeah.
I'll wait.
And
You're mid conversation with your friend, because it was always you and me who were chatting during,
yes,
you know,
yes.
we're mid conversation in class. And then our
Yep.
teacher's like, I'll wait. And we're like, oh shit.
Let me be
Sorry.
quiet. Speaking of you saying us being chatty, you just brought something back that I wanted to say. When you talked about creating and knowing your why, I've also talked about owning the fact that I like to talk, because there was so much shame around it growing up.
Yes.
You talk too much. Why are you asking questions? And it wasn't just random. It was like, or people would be having conversations with me, but it was always, well, you do this, or most talkative. And I heard there's a newswoman in Baltimore, and I took one of her, my church had her there. Basically, I thought they were looking for like a correspondent. They were looking for like a church announcer. What?
Oh.
And so I had to do this video. So I did a video, like reading something, and I was selected. So I went and took the course. Out of all of that, like when I found out what they wanted, I was like, yeah. And they emailed me, you've been selected to go on to the next round. No, I can't do that. But I'm glad I took this course. And she said, growing up, people always told her, you talk. And she felt such shame around it that she never would say, I like to talk. And she's like, her name is Patrice, for anybody in Baltimore. I can't remember what station she's on, but she's like, yes, I like to talk. I like to have good conversation. I like to have conversation. And that was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And it just unlocked something in me. Like, you don't have to be ashamed about you liking to have conversation.
Yes. And like being a curious person. I feel like the older I get, the more I like realize that too, where it's like all the things that like you felt shame for as a kid, or that you were bullied for, those are your superpowers. Like, those are the things that make you authentic and make you who you are. And you like, I feel like the more I actually lean into those things and embrace them, like you're saying, that's what resonates with people, because they know that that's who you are. They're like, oh my God, Taria like can conduct an interview. She can hold a conversation with anyone. She's like curious and is going to ask the right questions. Like, that's special. That's something that not everyone does. For me, it's like, I was always like called a baby or sensitive, like, oh, like you're so sensitive all the time. Oh, like, and like, now I'm being told in a positive way, like, oh, your vulnerability is really like, it resonates with me, or thank you for being willing to say that. I wouldn't be brave enough to say that, but like the fact that you feel sensitive about this thing makes me feel less alone when I feel sensitive about that thing. And like, so I just think that's really interesting, is like the more we like get to know ourselves and like embrace like who we actually are, instead of being like, what are you talking about? I don't talk too much. Or like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not sensitive. The more we embrace those things, I just feel like that's always when shit kind of falls into place. And I feel like the universe or God or whatever you want to call it is like, oh, okay, I see that. And like rewards you.
Yeah. And like you embracing ourselves, all of ourselves, the good, the bad, the petty, and being okay with it. Like, recently I've, like, you see things and you're like, but then you want to feel like you're a good person. So you're like, nope, I shouldn't feel that way about this. I do feel that way. And I feel like you're really being stank, or you're really being dismissive, or you're really being whatever. And that's just what it is,
Yes. So I know that. Wait, you go ahead.
No, I was saying, no, that's how, like, I'm like starting to be like, yeah, no, that is like, whatever. I'm petty in this moment, whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, why do we all have to act like pageant queens all the time? Like, when I'm irritated by something, for so long, I would be like, okay, I need to be the bigger person and I shouldn't be upset. And like, I do think there's something to be said for like taking a beat before maybe being reactive or like responding, but I'm also like, I'm not going to gaslight myself for having what to me is a valid emotional response to behavior that someone else did, or to something that happened to me. I don't need to be okay with it. Like, I don't need to be like accepting of someone treating me like shit. I can be upset by that, and maybe how I handle it, I want to try and be mature in that way. And I'm always working on that, but I'm not going to apologize for being upset. Like,
no,
you were an asshole.
period. And if you don't think you were, my feelings are still valid, then we can discuss it, because I'm open to, I know some people don't like when people say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean it this way. They think you should just do the sorry full stop. But I know,
Mhm.
but I feel like people deserve, depending on what it is now, because some things are like, no, there's
Yeah.
no explanation
Yeah.
for what you just said. But some things I think people are like, oh, I'm sorry that you felt like, I think you saying, Taria, I'm really sorry that you felt that way or that I made you feel that way. That's not what I meant. I feel like that's valid, because I want to be able to explain to someone like, no, I absolutely didn't mean to make you feel that way,
Right.
especially if it's true. So yeah, I'm to the point now, and also to the point of being like, recognizing that sometimes certain relationships don't serve you anymore, and it's
Mhm.
okay. It
I
doesn't have
know.
to be a harsh uh breakup or fallout. It's just like, hmm, I'm not feeling this within this, so maybe, but it was
Yeah.
good, and that's just that, you know?
I feel like that is like something like now that I'm in my early 30s that I've like experienced a lot is just the shifting of the like tectonic plates within my friendships of like,
Yeah.
oh, like this friendship has a lot of history and I really value that history. And at this one time, this friendship was everything to me and I couldn't have gotten through this time without this friendship. And now we're kind of growing apart and it's kind
Yeah.
of sad, but also it's kind of just like it is what it is. And like you said, it doesn't mean that like no one has love for each other or stuff like that. But it is like at a certain point, you're like, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall to try to get this friendship to be what it was, 12 years ago. And it's just probably not going to be that again. And like,
Yeah.
it has to be okay, but it's hard and
It's
painful.
it is. And then I think, and then things, because I think we're sometimes, I heard a person say, if you don't have friends that you've known, if you don't have the same friends, some of the same friends that you've had from when you were little or that you made in college, something's wrong with you. No, first of all, people move, people
People
grow apart,
change.
people interest. It could be you were friends for 3 years and it was
Right.
great and we were connected, and now things are shifting. And I think when things are shifting, it's also making room for new experiences,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be by new people. And then I think also sometimes we see things within friendships, but because you really like a person, you're like, this could potentially make me feel a certain way, but I like them. So whatever. I think you should honor your feelings too, because your body is
Mm-hmm.
definitely telling you, like, just pay attention, just be aware. And somebody's body could be telling them that about you too, so it's just,
Right.
I feel like it's what's it called? Secular. I just like that word. Well, kind of not really, because it's like testicular and it's then you start about people being sick. So,
I'm
but
like, I like how it sounds.
right. So speaking of how it sounds, okay. When it comes to social media,
Yeah.
when it comes to things and protecting our space and what I'm about to say involves children. I saw this clip of a Peloton instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it? Where she
No.
goes, she's riding and she's like, get that out of here. Like, and I'm paraphrasing, but she's reading her leaderboard and she's like, get that out of here. Guys in the back office, and that might not be the exact word. So for those of you listening, if you know what I'm talking about, you get what I'm trying to say. But she's on the bike and she's like, get that out of here. Those of you in the back office, block them. I don't go for that disrespect around here. I don't go for that disrespect. So I was like, what is going on this leaderboard? Because I've never had anything exciting like that happen in any of my classes
Yeah.
and then as I'm reading the comments, I find out that it's funny, but it's not, but it kind of, in a bit on a bigger scale of social media and like the TikTokers saying what they want and IG comments, the word file means lover of, right?
Huh.
Okay. So if I'm a lingophile, I believe that means a lover of words. So you're talking about
Right.
Peloton and riding the bike. So the person
I know where this is going.
put pedal file.
And so the coach was like, that is so fucked up. Don't say that.
And so I was reading the comments trying to gauge, you're not sure where you fall because you're like, I can honestly see why she reacted the way she did. Let's protect our children. At the same
Yeah.
time, this person thought they were being very, what's it called? Very smart, not smart, but very, like creative, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm so clever. Ha ha ha.
Not thinking where that could. I don't even like saying file at the end of anything just because, but it's
No.
a word, like,
Yeah.
I told somebody one time I'm a lingophile and they were like, huh? I was like, a lover of a word.
Yeah. I know it does always just
And I
make
hope that's
everything
the right
sound a
one.
little like,
Yeah.
like I have a friend who's like, oh, I'm like a Francophile. Like she loves France, like anything having to do with France. And I'm like, just the word like Francophile just sounds like, I'm like, don't say that.
It
You're not
literally just
allowed to
got
love
dark.
France.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So I
You're
don't,
American.
right. And it's like, no, I'm just saying I love like anything to do with France.
Yeah.
So how social media plays such a big part, like you knew where I was going with it. So I'm just seeing how people's reactions to her reactions to it, and then it gets magnified because it's on social media and people are commenting. I still don't quite know how I feel about it. Part of me feels like you should have known better, but who are we to tell somebody they should have known better? They thought they were being. I think that I would have caught it because I would have probably said it out loud.
Right.
Pedophile. Oh,
Yeah. Too close.
too close. But she was very, I have to see if I can find the clip. She was very much like, get that out of here. Like, we don't tolerate that disrespect. So I was like, oh my, like, what's happening?
Peloton drama. But it is so true. Like that's what's interesting too, is that once like a video like blows up and there's a big audience, the way like we as a society like argue in the comments section it's like an episode of Black Mirror to me. Like I don't understand. Like I try not to argue with people, but like I've clapped back at people
Me
in my
too.
own comments, just being like, that's a messed up thing to say, or I try to come up with some sort of like clever retort to make them feel stupid. But I'm just like, this is a wild time that we live in where we're like, literally on our phones, like fighting with strangers
that we don't know. Like,
but and then also imagine being the stranger and taking the time to be like, your personality sucks based on like a 30-second video of something. You know what I mean?
It's literally today, right before we recorded, I was making my hot chocolate and a video came across my timeline, which my For You page, I would probably be shamed. Let me tell you about what my For You page looks like. I went out to dinner with my friends back in October and a guy's like, I want y'all, he was really trying to like, oh, hey. And I was like, hello. And then he acted like he wanted to talk to all of us, but I knew what he was doing. He was like, hey, I have a business. I would like to invite you all. Like we're leaving a restaurant and he's going into this restaurant, but he has a business and he wants to invite us all. So he's like, let me see your phone. I'll show it to you on Instagram. So I go to Instagram. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make sure I share it with them. And he pulls up my For You page and he was like, now mind you, he didn't know if I was lesbian. He didn't know what, but he goes, huh, this is like a guy's For You page. Because I also like to watch a lot of fitness videos. And if I scroll a video and a girl's body is banging, I'm like, what does she do? Or what does she?
Yeah.
So you do see like butts and abs and breasts. Like, so my For You.
So he's like, whoa, damn. That is so funny.
Like, oh, okay. I even forgot where I was going with it because I just got a flash of my For You page. But like, yes. Oh, so arguing with strangers and stuff. So it's just like I've tried. I really am trying. Because when we know our superpower. So if I'm scrolling and it's a person I follow, don't follow. I mean, follow, not even don't follow, but no. Rewind. So the video that I was looking at today that came across my timeline, it was a guy that was putting up a huge Christmas tree in the front of his house outside. And he goes, when your wife wants a Christmas tree in every room, but you say no, so you compromise. No, when your wife wants a Christmas tree, 3 inside and 2 outside, and you say no, but then you compromise and now have one in every single room and 3 outside. So he's had to put up like 12 Christmas trees. He was like, get married, they said. Ha ha. You could tell it was like a play on. The comments were like, you need to get yourself a wife that's less dependable. Why are you putting up the trees? And he's like, because it's my wife and I feel like I should put the trees up. And she was like, I'm saying I've put up Christmas trees on my own. Your wife seems like she's too codependent. This is
How did
clearly
we
a
get
joke.
there? How did we make that leap from a man putting up Christmas trees for his wife to being like, your wife has a dependency problem, like a codependency problem? That's so crazy.
Like,
I've had people on TikTok recently with that video where I was like, what's wrong with my outfit? Being like, wow, your soul must be so sad that you care so much what people think about you. Like,
as you comment on it. So how is your soul?
yeah. Or being like, wow, or you could just go to the gym and work out. Why do you give a shit how you look? And I'm like, but to me, that's actually anti-feminist, because you're saying that as a woman, if I feel better in a cute outfit, that makes me like vapid or stupid for some reason. And I'm like, why don't we just fuck off and let people dress the way they want to dress, or put up Christmas trees for their wives if they want to? It's not that serious. It's really not that serious.
Our society is like a contradiction in itself.
Yes.
Because some of those same women saying that to you would say, stop policing women's bodies. Stop.
Yes.
And I have to go back to, people need to read what you said was, you were talking about your outfit. You asked them nothing about your body. You did not say, what do y'all think I need to work on? You said your outfit. So how you got to what may or may not be a fupa, when I was asking about my gym tights.
Bad personality. I'm very depressed. I need help. I need to find confidence within myself. I was like, I mean, like, of course, we all have insecure days. I'm not this like person who has it all figured out at all. And I don't try to position myself as such. I am saying, to jump to conclusions about someone's marriage, someone's personality based on a funny short video is crazy to me. I can't imagine. It feels like everyone's trying to catch each other in like a gotcha moment of like, oh, so that it's like that part in Mean Girls where she's like, so you think you're really pretty? Yeah. And she didn't actually say that. It's like, how did we get there? You said she was pretty and she said, thank you. Like, I don't understand.
It was so funny. It was like one of the housewives. Oh, it was so funny. I literally was watching Salt Lake City the other day, and Whitney goes to Meredith. And I'm like, wow, the way everyone clearly processes things differently. Even in your relationship, you could say, it is dark outside. Can you move my car? Mm-hmm. How did you then get, so you don't feel like moving your cars and you think that I should be the one to move it?
Yeah.
I just asked, like, but and that's an example, but it's like, how, so Whitney was like, Meredith, you said you wanted to destroy Angie's marriage. Meredith was like, never said that. Yeah. She literally just said that. Yes. She just said she knew rumors or whatever that thing was that she said, but it was like, how did we get from me saying, I want to destroy your marriage, from me saying, let's not talk about the rumors.
Rumors, the lastness about her and her husband. I'm like, are you okay?
What is going? Okay.
Jake was like, going on? Jake was like, do you remember the first season when we all thought Meredith was like the normal one? Like she was like more well-adjusted than like Jen Shah. And now she's like arguably one of the most unhinged people on the show.
And I want to know, like, are they cutting out her answering a question like in succession? Are they purposely breaking it up? Or is she really like, if you don't think my life flashed before my eyes,
the drama,
it took you 37 seconds to say, like, and I'm on the edge of my seat, like, and she's just completing a sentence. Like,
you're like, okay, Meredith, like, wrap it up.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I talk with my body and with my hands. She does as well.
No kidding. Wait, speaking of which, you just got back from BravoCon, killing it with your outfits, looking luminous and gorgeous, strutting around Vegas. Like, I was so happy for you. I was so happy to see you there.
Can I just say thank you for saying that? I appreciate that. The love I've gotten just for literally going is like, oh my God, thank y'all.
No, I'm so happy you got to go. And to me, it was kind of like getting Taylor Swift tickets, and that I was like, I won't be able to afford it, so I'm just not even gonna try to go. But seeing like so many of my friends there, especially you, who like, I just feel like you had so much business being there. It was so exciting to see you there. Also, you met a bunch of Bravo people.
Yes.
Who was your favorite person that you met? Or you give us like a top 3.
Shouldn't even take this long.
No, you probably just met so many people that you're like, hold on.
So I'm going to admit something.
Please.
My favorite person or people that I met and got to like hug on and talk to and hang out with are content creators.
Who? What?
Content creators.
Oh, great.
Not even the Bravo.
That's part of the fun. It feels like a big, like, yeah, like a family reunion.
Now, I will say, and I said this, and it could be untrue, but I'm just going to tell you. So, first of all, if I could go back and rewind time, the one thing I would do was get the contact information for some of the amazing people that worked BravoCon. Because I had posted that I asked one of the security guys. It's funny, I was sitting down with Kempire and from YouTube and TikTok and all over, and we were eating like at the end of the day Friday. And it's funny because like Rachel Lindsay was like a table over with her people. And then I see somebody walk by, no security. I'm like, was that Avery? And he was like, yeah, it was her. It was Avery. So then
like Ramona's Avery.
Just walking by, like no one around her. Like really, if we were interested, we could have stopped and been like, hey girl, let's talk. Like,
and Ramona wasn't there. It was just Avery, right?
Yep.
Oh my God. If I were Avery, I wouldn't have gone. I'd be like, oh my God, fuck that. I'm not going.
Right. Cause I don't want questions about my mom or people looking at me like, because I would want to defend my mom because it's my mom. Right.
Right.
So she just walks by and there's like no security, but it was like a back door, like where you could go where all the talent was, like back to their lounge or whatever you. And so security comes out, 2 security guys later come out with their little ear things in. And I don't mean to say it like that, but like with, you know, the earphones in or whatever. And they were like, hey guys, I was like, oh, you telling us we got to leave? And they were like, no, we're just going to clear out this area soon, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, so let me ask you a question. What's the wildest thing you've seen from a Bravo led while you're here? And he was like, God, some short blonde was jumping up and down and her titty popped out. And I was like, whoa. So I say that to say, I wish I had got people's contact information because I went to something called Bravo Palooza. So that was an add-on. And basically, so with the VIP bracelet, you could go into the VIP lounge. You could hang out there all day because they have to come through. Like that's part of their deal or whatever. You just never know who's going to come through. And you don't have to wait. Like you had to sign up to get actual picture ops with them. But if you had the VIP, they come in, you could just stand in a line with nobody. And then once they walk through, jump up, get your picture and move on.
Fun.
So I'm in there. And I was like, I forgot that I was supposed to go to this Bravo Palooza from like 4 to 5:15. And it was like 4:30. And I was watching a screening of Dubai. And I was like, let me go run over there real quick. I walk in and Aaron's there from New York. And I was like, So I start talking to the people that work there and we're talking. And one lady was like, you know, they could come up and slap me in the face. I don't know who any of these people are. She was like, I know Atlanta. Like, I know some of the people from Atlanta, like Kenya. And she goes, she works venues like this. She was like, I just actually flew in. Was Taylor Swift in Detroit like before BravoCon? She was somewhere like that. And because the girl was like,
keep track of her, but yeah,
where she's going. She worked the Taylor Swift thing. So she's like, I'm here. And then I happened to see Sai from New York. So I was like, she was leaving out. So I was like, hold on. So I turned around and I like to be very careful with my words because I don't want to be saying things like, oh my God, I love you so much. Oh my God. If I don't know you. Yeah. Of what I see of you. So I was like, girl, I go up for you on the show. Now, within reason, of course. Do I like all of her behaviors? No. But do I think she should be like tossed like into the housewives abyss? No. But
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So I was like, I go up for you on the show. And she goes, thank you so much for that. I was like, and I think I asked her, can I get a pic? Because she had the person following her with the little camera light. So I get a pic, I leave. And then one of the people that were working there not for Bravo, but at the venue goes, oh man, who is that? And I was like, oh, that's a Real Housewife of New York. And he goes, oh, you should have came in earlier, like when the Palooza started. He goes, because nobody was really messing with her like that. She was just like basically by herself.
Oh,
I was like, wow. Like it's like, but so I met her. You know what? I'm going to say out of everybody I met, my favorite one outside of content creators was Eddie Osefo. I walked up to him. So Dr. Wendy and him came through the lounge.
Was he really tall? I feel like he'd be so tall.
Very tall. To me, he was tall. And I'm 5'5", thick in the thighs. Every thug's dream wife, see the love in their eyes from Eve. So So and this is so funny. Of course they know it's a show, but I feel like if me and Corey were on this show, or say you and Jake were on Beverly Hills, people can throw things out there about your significant other. And even if you don't know what's true, it's not like it may not be like cross your mind. Because you would think in your mind, what heinous person would make up something about a relationship?
Yes.
So I was like, I saw him, the women were on him like, oof. And so it was, so he had his hands down when he was taking pictures. You know, sometimes like a Joe Gorga would be like, hey, you know, but he was like, so I walked up to him and I go, he turns around. So I said, my husband, because I'm going to leave with that, would love that blazer. Can we get a picture? He was like, yeah, that's what's up. So that, you know, like, so Eddie was my favorite. Eddie and the people that manned Eddie and Wendy's booth, because they had Happy Eddie t-shirts, merch, and Wendy's candles, which smelled so good. I wish I had got one. They smelled really good. They're my cousins now. We said that every time we saw, hey cousin, like, so like they were really
That's
nice.
so cute.
Yeah. So then I saw people were chanting for Sheree coming through the Bravo Bazaar, Sheree, and I'm like, no.
See, I would freak out if I saw Sheree.
She's shorter than I thought.
She gives like 5'5" energy to me. Like I would feel like she's like a little bit more like average height.
If I saw Lisa Milan though, I may have brought her home, and Corey would have been like, "What?"
Be like, new roommate, new bestie.
Hey, she's gonna room with us.
That's incredible. I'm like, I don't know where I think I would get the funds or really the time to go to BravoCon, especially because I'm like getting married around the same time next year. But I do want to go someday. I feel like it seems so fun. And like you said, like I feel like seeing all the content creators and getting to hang out with them has to be really cool. Oh my God.
Worth it. It's worth I'm sorry. Somebody asked me. Yeah, now that you've gone, would you say the money is worth it? And I said yes. And I will, for anybody who doesn't know, I will say one of my listeners sponsored We Go podcast to be there.
So cool.
Bracelet, add-ons, airline, hotel. It's funny because I keep wanting to shout out her name. So on Facebook, it's kind of out there, but like I want to be respectful of her because I know that she didn't do it for this reason. She did it because she's an amazing human. And I'm not just saying that like because of what she did. She like her and I had been in communication for well over a year.
Oh,
since I started the podcast. She's told me so much about her life. I've shared with her I've learned so much from her. I'm like, you know, you ever meet a person and you're like, they know a lot of information that you would want to know.
Yeah.
So, but outside of that, I am manifesting me getting the same experience next year, and it's gonna continue where I don't have to drop a dime. However,
hell yeah,
if I did, it would have been worth it. It is worth it. Even if people start saving now, or you start throwing $50 a week or $20 or $10 a week away. And when it comes, even if it's just a one day, I think the energy there was good. I really enjoyed it. And I will say it inspired me to want to make, even though it was BravoCon, not just BravoCon content, but more content, you know?
Cool. That seems definitely worth it to me. Just like everything you got out of it.
And I got to wear clothes. I'm a lover of clothes. I'm a clothophile. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, same.
Like I love bags. For me, more so, it's about the bags and the shoes and the way you can dress up, just like something that may seem plain.
Like jeans and a t-shirt.
Yes. Love. So I was like, I got to get my fits together because we did say looks, so LEWKS, but now it's fits. So I had to get my fits together.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And did you ever? You looked amazing.
Thank you.
I feel like, of course, I feel like that's like something I think about where I'm like, I don't know. Like I'll see something that's cute, like a cute little like outfit. And I'm like, where are you going in that, Hannah? Like, where do you have to be? So like, I feel like to be realistic, like if I were to get something kind of like festive and cute that I wouldn't wear all the time, like I would do it for something like BravoCon. Like I would go, you know, get me a little Zara set like Paige DeSorbo and pass it off as high fashion.
Now, would you have legs attached to the bottom of what you're going to wear? Or would you just wear the bloomers?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
What did you think of that?
Okay, so I've seen celebrities do the no pants trend. Like I've seen Hailey Bieber do it in a way that is really elevated and chic
Yes.
and cool and edgy. I don't like the way Paige did it at all. I think she literally just looked like she forgot her pants. I also think where the like little panties like hit her was strange. Like and
Yeah.
the shirt was too blousy and like just
Yes.
tucked in. Like it just felt like an incomplete outfit. I saw Erin did a similar look. I think she did it better. I still think to pull off the no pants thing, you have to have like an oversized blazer or like something
Yes.
over it to like balance it out a little more. You know what I mean?
I'm with
But
you.
maybe that's just me being like, uptight. I don't know. I feel like that to balance out the proportions, you need something that gives you a little more coverage.
I agree. I felt like Aaron did it better, but also I agree with the having something a little bit bigger on
Yeah.
the top because it's like it
Yeah.
some looks, like you say, the no pants look like with the Hailey Bieber, it looks chic. Where some it
Mhm.
to me, I don't ever want fashion to wear me or look like I'm trying. And I feel like
Yes.
that's what it felt like when I looked at Paige.
Yes. And like, yeah, I think, you know what I've been thinking about recently, like, especially in relation to like making content. I personally find it would be for me very dangerous to market myself as an expert on anything. Like I just
Yes.
personally think the second you say I'm an expert on this topic, whether it's fashion, advice, whatever, you're basically saying like I'm an authority on this. And so the expectation is you better be really fucking good at it. And the second you're
Right.
not, people are going to drag you and be like, "Oh my god, you call yourself like a fashion expert? Like, girl, what are you talking about?" So like I personally am down for people like trying a new look, but I'm just
Yes.
like, because Paige like positions herself as this like authority on fashion, I just wish she had better fashion.
And
Respectfully.
tried more. We watched her how many seasons ago in Summer House bringing rolling racks of clothes to create content.
And then like
Now
she
it's
tried
like,
to do last season, she did like the black gloves with the black like turtleneck, trying to do like a Kim Kardashian thing, but you could see the line of like her wrist between the sleeve and the glove. So now she just looks like kind of like a mime. Like she tried
yes.
to do these like high fashion things in a way that doesn't read as high fashion. And I'm just like, I feel like you just the execution is always wrong.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
really pretty and like
Yeah.
she could wear anything and it would like look good on her or whatever. But I'm just like, to say that she has amazing fashion, I would literally just be lying. I don't.
Because and I don't even think it's about, because sometimes I check myself and I'm like, well, is it because you're older? And I'm like, no, because I consider myself pretty up with what's
Yes.
going. And I'm not one of those I hate. And I think it people policing other people's clothing as to not like us giving our takes on an outfit. That's something totally different. But
Right.
policing women and how we wear, especially non-women or
Mm-hmm.
women that are older
Mm-hmm.
than you, and you know where it's coming from. I hate when people like attack women for their clothing choices or what have you. But I feel like I'm pretty up on what's going on. And I don't feel like you have to be a certain age and then you can't wear that thing anymore. Like those lists that
No.
are like over 40, what you can't wear. And I'm like, you're not going to tell me. I don't even like the
Exactly.
whole you can't wear white after Labor Day. Who made that rule?
Yeah.
I have a white sweater. I have a pair of white pumps that
I
look
was gonna say
really good.
winter white. Let's talk about winter whites.
So I'm very
You
much
match the
like,
snow.
yeah,
It's a
I'm
whole
pure.
vibe.
I'm pure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
vibe. I'm pure.
We're so pure and virginal.
Well, speaking of vibes, you and Jake watch Salt Lake City. I know you have to go soon. Me and
Mhm.
Jake watch. I mean, me and Jake and Corey watch Salt Lake City. Hannah, you didn't know that.
Oh my God.
Um,
FOMO.
and Monica. There's been a lot of talk about Monica. So I know you've seen Jeff Lewis when I was in that panel, that Ask Andy panel, first panel of BravoCon, kicked off BravoCon pretty much. And Jeff Lewis is a moderator.
Oh shit.
I don't find Jeff. I used to subscribe to his Sirius show, and I'll be honest and say when the protests were happening and there's different things that for me personally, I couldn't listen to him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So then I kind of dipped my toe back in, not fully, but someone had sent me some stuff that he said, and I was like, I thought it was funny, and I thought I might dip back, but I just couldn't let myself because I trust what I feel, right?
Yeah.
So I'd rather if I'm going to listen to him, it's going to be in a space like this where I'm coming, and he's the moderator. And he made the comment about Monica and said that Monica's on food stamps and she's 3 car payments behind on her Range Rover. And he basically doesn't want to see poor people on his show. Now we find that Beauty Lab and Laser sued Monica. So do you know about this?
No.
So she got work done, injections done, and she did a payment plan. She paid $400 down payment and $49 setup fee. And she's supposed to pay, I think, $200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And she never made a payment.
Oh,
so
shit.
Beauty Lab and Laser filed suit in August. I want to know when the season of Salt Lake City filmed, because we have scenes of Heather and Monica together. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer where Heather gets a phone call and she's like, she did what? I can't believe it. People are saying they're finding out that Monica is suing her because Monica is countersuing, saying that the injections were botched. They offered to fix it. She said no and paid for somebody else to have it. So that's one lawsuit. Then, and I'm trying to figure out what order this happened. So listeners, even if I figure it out and y'all don't know and I haven't posted it yet, please let me know if you know. There is a hilarious TikTok of Monica. She's at a car wash. She does 3 different outfit changes and she's washing her car. She's sliding down her car, all in the car wash. Well, the car wash was suing her. And I don't know if it's because she made the TikTok and broke a piece of equipment, because they said she took an hour with the
what the
changes.
Fuck?
Or if they sued her for something beforehand, breaking it, and then she decided, I'm just going to go and make this TikTok. So that's a lot of suits. And then they're talking about her name. Right now she's going by Monica Garcia, but she was Monica Fowler. That was the name she went by. Then she got married. And then once she got divorced, she went to Garcia. So I'm like, it seems like there's a lot going on with Monica. I'm split with Monica. I enjoy her on the show.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything. Like, I didn't like her. Again, Lisa and her $60,000 ring. Yes, I don't care for Lisa Barlow, I'll say, but I don't begrudge her having money and losing a $60,000 ring and talking about it the entire trip. Would it get on your nerves? Yes, but not from a place of, I don't have $60,000, so I don't want to hear about your ring. That's me personally, because we know what we're watching. In real life, it may be different.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
I
don't know. What do you think? Because I like Monica. So like, I don't dislike her or like her. I just enjoy what she's bringing to the show in some aspects, but not in all.
Yeah. I also enjoy Monica on the show. I think she's definitely messy, but I also think like we need messy people. And she's so, you want to talk about someone who's reactive? Like Monica is very reactive. And like, I just think we need that kind of energy on Housewives. Would I like be her friend? No, like, I don't think I could handle that kind of chaos in my life. Like, I don't really understand like a woman that's going to break a car wash for the sake of a TikTok that's paying you $0. Like, I don't get that, but that's also the kind of campy chaos that I want from a housewife. So I'm like, don't fire her, like keep her around.
Yeah. Okay.
And her fucking wackadoodle time mom. Her mom is fucked up.
When her mom, so I just caught up, and I don't know if you've seen the latest episode.
No, I think I'm an episode behind.
Okay. Do you mind if I tell you one tiny part? You
please spoil away, please.
Her and her mom meet for dinner after.
Oh, wait.
Party.
Yes, I saw that one.
When her mom went from crying to them tears dried up quick and was like, I'm not trying to get sympathy or something. I was like, whoa.
And then she's like sadly like nibbling on the guacamole. And Monica's like, I don't want to eat. I actually don't have an appetite. She's like a teenager.
That's what I was going to say. It's funny because I can see Monica's point, but then I can also see the bratty teenager. Yes. So it's like, I can see her wanting to check her mom and understand why she's combative with her mom with all these things. And then I also see the bratty 15-year-old that's like, I'm going on a hunger strike because I'm upset.
Yes. The pouting and like,
I'm
not eating. It's like, okay, so it's really hard because like, I think I'm not a doctor. I think her mom has narcissistic tendencies. Perhaps, But then I also am like, if this is the person who raised Monica, it feels like Monica has some like arrested development. Like I think that those temper tantrums she has are like an inner child who's like crying for help and wants to be seen and taken care of and nurtured in ways that her mom just was not emotionally capable of doing.
Yeah.
So it's like the blind leading the blind. Like I kind of feel bad for both of them because I'm just like, I don't think there's a way forward in this relationship because you both have so much individual work to do. And if neither of you are willing to do it, or if only one of you are willing to do it, I don't think her mom's interested in doing any sort of self-reflection or going to therapy based on what I've seen. So like, I'm like, I feel like if I were Monica, I would just be like, I can't really have you in my life, which is really sad. I feel bad for people who like have to make that boundary with their parents. It has to be really heartbreaking.
Just like, yeah, either you get help or not. And which it makes me wonder if she brought her on the show because she knew like people would be, whether people talked badly about it or about her or good, it was they'd be talking about her. Like I look at her when, you know, she talks about her mom being narcissistic. I was thinking about the way in which Monica presented and has presented the information of her 18-month affair with her brother-in-law. And it was kind of almost like, I'm not saying she's glad about it, but it was like I did it for me situation. Like I wasn't happy. Like it just a little bit narcissistic. Like even with her kids kind of taking care of the other kids, you know, it's like, I don't, it's like her and her mom seem very similar in certain ways. Monica seems to have a different relationship with her daughters, which is good, but her and her mom seem really similar.
I know and that's like, that really freaks me out where it's like, oh my God, it's like the monster has grown another head. Like it's when the child is like, takes on the same issues that the parent had raising them. People in Salt Lake are wild about who they have sex with. Between Mary Cosby, like marrying her grandpa, Monica having an affair with her brother-in-law, that is so sick. That is so gross. Like I can't imagine doing that to like your sister
and your family, like
your whole family, like
because that effect, that's not together. That's not an affair that happened outside and you and your husband decided you could work through it. This is, like you said, someone you're seeing at holidays, probably get-togethers.
You're sitting at family dinners, like watching.
And at what cost? Not that this would be right, but if they were in love, if
you just wanted to fuck around and be chaotic, go find quite literally anybody else. I don't understand. Fuck your boss. Like, if you want to be messy, go fuck your boss.
Hey, Whitney, like, wasn't Justin? Oh, they were coworkers, my bad. But
yeah. But have a messy workplace romance. Who among us hasn't tried that before and watched it go up in flames? Okay. But I'm like, girl, you can't be fucking around with the family. It's so weird.
Going to your family function saying, I'll take that one. You know, like,
yeah. Like, wow, I really liked that sweater he wore at Christmas. Like, sick.
When we did the Pollyanna. Wait, are we allowed to say, or is it gift exchange? Or when we did the gift exchange or
the gift? Yeah. Wow, that sweater he wore at the White Elephant. Looking good. Looking weird.
And that ugly sweater. Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And I do have a question. In the beginning, we met Monica's grandmother. Was that her mother's mother? Because she said in this past episode that we saw that her mom's mom hated her, didn't want a girl, and that her family has a history of mothers and daughters not having the best relationship. And I thought, wow, she said it ended with, I guess it's going to end with her and her daughter. And I truly hope so, because that's sad. Like that's really a hard place to be in, you know?
And that would make sense though, because then that makes sense why like her mom is having the same temper tantrums that Monica's having. They just want, you know what I mean? Like it's like there's some mental generational trauma there that it doesn't seem like anyone is really dealing with. And
wants the tools to fix. Like you didn't have the tools to provide what they needed, but it's never too late as long as you're alive and you want to.
Exactly. Ugh.
It's interesting because it sort of reminds me a little bit of Candace and her mom. On Potomac, just a little, but yeah, it's wild. Housewives is we're living in a wild time right now. I feel like it's almost it was kind of flat, even though we were all still watching, or maybe not, because
I dropped
went in
off.
and out. It was like, there's a lot going on. But I feel like there's been a resurgence of some sorts. I don't know if that's good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
but like, and not bad, but I mean, it's been a awakening. I feel like a reality reckoning of sorts.
One might say a
Right.
reality reckoning.
Reckoning in a much different way than Bethany first intended, because now she is telling Denise Richards that the Vanity Fair article was a botch job.
I need to see that. I mean, trying to keep up with Bethany Frankel being unhinged is a full-time job
Yeah.
that I don't have time for at the moment. However, she's becoming, for me, like a Kardashian, in that I can try to avoid her all I want, but she will be back on my feed soon enough. She will
Yeah.
do something that will make waves and I will hear about it. So this Denise Richards thing, I don't fully know, but I've heard murmurings. And look, sometimes I like being a little toxic and hate listening to podcasts hosted by people I don't really like. And it's not a lovely thing to say, but I'll probably tune in. And do I want to give Bethany the ad sales? Probably not. But you know what? Like, it's like PETA telling people not to eat meat. Like, you're not going to shut down the whole meat industry, but you can choose not to eat meat if
But you
that
can,
makes you feel good. Like,
yeah,
the industry will continue to happen, but I appreciate the choice you're making. I don't really care that I'm giving Bethany money. She'll make it whether I'm listening or not.
or not. Yeah. And well, so basically, Denise said, I didn't understand the whole reality reckoning. And then Bethany flips, and all of a sudden it was a botched job, and da 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 da.
Of
Yeah.
course she got defensive. She's
Yes.
such a fucking child. What I think is annoying is like she loves to call people out for being like, oh, they can dish it, but they can't take it. I have never seen someone who can dish it but can't take it the way
More.
Bethany Frankel can't. She is so immature. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're like, it's just everything's always okay when Bethany does it. Bethany is
Yes.
allowed to comment on everyone. Bethany is allowed to criticize everyone. But the second someone gives her any feedback, she's like, well, I know everything and you don't know anything, and I do it all right and you do it all wrong. And like, she's
Yes.
not willing to receive any sort of criticism, and it is impossible to listen to.
Yeah. That's because there's an excuse for everything. So for you to turn around now and say
Yes.
Vanity Fair did a botched job and it wasn't my article. That's what she said. You literally posed for the pictures for the article. It
But
wasn't my article.
she has an excuse
Go
for
back,
everything.
go listen to that. It's like,
Oh my God, I'm going to text you when I
and then
listen
she's
and give you my
calling
thoughts.
Andy out for dismissing Nene's racism claim. In the beginning of your reality reckoning, people were asking you because you didn't name racism, and she's like, no, it has nothing to do with it. But then you team up with it, like, yeah.
So she didn't explicitly like give a platform to
But
Nene talking about the racism at Bravo.
she mentioned what the reality reckoning was, like
Uh-huh.
how Bravo basically is not doing good to their employees, right? She
Mhm.
tagged content creators, all of which were white. So people were like, hey, what about the racism? She's like, this is not about that. And then now all of a sudden she brings Nene on her show and they talk about the racism. And now she's calling out Andy for dismissing Nene's racism.
Wow, Bethany. Wow, Bethany. Wow. But
Wow.
but now she's positioning herself as this person who really cares about the racism at Bravo because of Nene, when it's like, where the fuck was that before? And why aren't you using your
Yes.
platform to tag Black Bravo content creators too?
And she could have just very much said, no, it's about X, Y, and Z because I didn't experience it. Okay. She didn't. But then now to turn around, like,
and like make it like her cause.
yes,
like,
it's
shut
like,
up.
Are you insane? So, her and Nene are doing a limited series podcast called Beth and Nene. Do with that what you will. Okay.
I watched a YouTube video where like Nene went to her house, and I just want to like see them interacting, and it was kind of fascinating.
I probably will tune in to just
stay toxic, everybody. Watch content that triggers you. It's okay. We all do it sometimes. I don't have a lot of drama in my personal life. So if the most toxic thing I'm doing is just covertly listening to a podcast hosted by someone I don't like, I'm not harming anyone. I'm not leaving them 1-star reviews. I'm just going about my business.
And that's another thing.
Talking shit with my friends.
If you don't like it, move on. You don't. And to me, and about commenting, I'm starting to ask myself, what's the reason for your comment? Why would you? Or if you're going to go and try to and blow this comment section up for what? What is the why
Mhm.
and why you're leaving? Do you like this creator that did it? And you're like, oh, well, maybe look at it from, are you interested in having a real conversation about
Right.
whether it's TV or whatever? Or are you trying to be like snarky and just want somebody to see your comment? If that is the case, move on.
That is something that someone told me within the last couple of days that I never considered, which is like people try to win the comment section. Like they're trying to
Yes.
get fans in the comment section by saying something really salacious or really funny, even if it's kind of mean to the creator. Like everyone wants to like get the attention. So it's
Yes.
like, yeah. So that's a really good point. I think like and important to have like a conversation with yourself and be like, what am I trying to accomplish with this
Yeah.
comment? And is it constructive? And will I feel better when I post it? Or is this just going to upset me more?
Like, am I trying to get in a tight five or like in this
Right.
section or am I
Right.
like,
Yeah. Do a
what
little
am I
stand up
doing?
set.
Yes. And something that you taught me and that you and I had a conversation a while ago about, there was a person that was literally, and it wasn't just like listening to a person that you don't really care for because you're trying to get the info. That's different. We are creators and we do have
Yeah.
conversations about this. But
Yeah.
it was a person that really just, I could have like talking about a person where you could like knock on the door, like, girl, like, what are you saying? The things you're posting, it was just wild. And you said, why are you following her? I was sitting in the doctor's office and we were texting and you were like, why are you following her? If it bothers you that much, you need to unfollow. And I was like, yeah, you're
It's
right.
hard. And you also, especially if you like kind of know the person, it's not like a celebrity who's not going to notice. If it's like someone who you kind of know, like I feel bad unfollowing. I also love a mute. I love muting people.
Yes.
I'm like, you don't
Yeah.
exist to me. I can't. You're too annoying.
This person was just on so many different levels, like, and I unfollowed and then they found out months later and blocked me. But okay.
That's a really wild way to respond to someone unfollowing you. Like, if anything, I would just be like, oh, and then keep my day moving. I wouldn't be like, well, guess what? You never get to see my content ever again. Like, that is like, what?
Which was a purpose for me unfollowing you. So thank you.
Yeah, you're like, oh, great. So we're on the same page.
Yeah. Then you
That's
end up in
funny.
this, you end up in the same spaces and they trick people into thinking you're best friends. Okay. So
Okay, we'll offline about that because you know I like to gossip.
On that note, Hannah, I miss your podcast. But I would never, tell people to pressure you to bring it back. But
Never say never. That's all I'll say.
Congratulations again with you and Jake. You're gonna make a beautiful bride inside and out because you're a beautiful person inside and out.
Thank you.
And I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so honored to be back and to get to chat with you. This was literally so fun. So
I
thank
know.
you.
It's like our text messages, but in real time.
I know.
Our voice notes in real time. I'll be like, sorry, this is a long one, or like 19 pages, and our times are different. So I'll be like texting you at like your 5 a.m. Like, okay, she knows me enough by now to know that like I'm saying it so I don't forget. And then she'll respond when she can. Like,
Yes.
that's
I
the
love our friendship
relationship.
because we always pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you like sent me a voice memo this morning being like, life has been lifing. So it's okay if you have to reschedule. And I was like, no, I totally get it. Like, and if you have to reschedule, like I can, but like also I can do it if you still want to. And I just like what I really love about you and what I love about our friendship is I don't feel like there's ever any scorekeeping of like, well, I sent you this and you didn't respond and it took you took this many days and da-da-da. I just know we're gonna pick up where we left off and it'll always be great. And so I'm so like thankful to have you as a friend and to have you in my life.
Vice versa. Can I tell y'all something real quick? I know I got to go, but Hannah's got to go, but we both got to go. How about that, people?
Yeah, we're very busy.
We're very busy, very busy. I'm very busy and booked,
Very busy and booked.
Hannah, when we met and, we had exchanged numbers and we were talking and she found out that my son was going to be in California. And she was like, just know that if he ever wants to escape or ever has any issues, he can come to the house. And then she found out he had allergies and she's like, so wait, do I need to put my cat up? And I'm like, the fact that she even thought that far ahead, I was like, if you choose motherhood as a journey or you're an auntie, you're going to be great at both. Cause you literally were like up. Would he be okay coming over? And I know that you meant that from the bottom of your heart. And that meant
Really?
a lot to me.
Oh,
Girl, he
I
ain't trying to
love
run
you.
nowhere. He's trying to run right, stay in LA. Currently hoping for an internship or something because I don't want him to have to come home after he graduates and then try to get back out there. So I'm like, we need to network, but
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
saying I mean,
He'll find something. It'll be
yes.
great.
Yeah. So I love you. Let everybody know, if they don't, which I'm sure they do, where they can find you.
Oh my gosh, I love you. Y'all can follow me at Hannah A. Brown on Instagram and Twitter, Hannah A. Brown 0 on TikTok. And also, I co-host a podcast with Tyler Meredith called You Know You Love Us. It's a Gossip Girl recap podcast. And right now we're doing some seasonal content from other shows from the early 2000s. But yeah, check that out if you feel so inclined.
It's funny. I saw your clip today and I just watching you holding your mic. It just brought it. I don't know. Just like hearing you on the mic, it brought back memories. Like,
Oh,
so yes. Oh, and hi, Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
I just wanted to say hi. All right, guys. Darn it, I was gonna try to do a play on Gossip Girl, but I couldn't remember. Is it You Know You Love Me? We know you love you. Like,
You Know You Love Me. That was perfect.
Okay. Guys, you know you love us. XOXO. Gossip Girl. Bye.